Changing an optional altogether is a very daunting task which you do not want to get into. Talking about my choice of the optional, I chose anthropology as my optional, and I saw the contents of the subject. So I saw that the subject is divided into four fields. Are these the four fields that I really want to? I also read extensively about the other three fields, which are archaeology, linguistic anthropology, and physical anthropology as well.
Unacademy. Let's crack it.
Hello everyone, this is Ashna Chaudhary, UPSC CSE 2022 All India Rank 116. Today I'm going to talk about how to choose optional as well as the strategy that you need to adopt for your optional. So talking about how to choose optional, so herein we are dealing with a topic which is based on your optional, and it's based on your choice of optional as well as preparation of optional. Generally, we consider preparation component as the more important component. However, I would say that the choice becomes more important compared to your preparation component of your optional, because if you have chosen your optional which is not, if you have chosen an optional which does not suit your needs later on, it becomes very difficult to continue with that. And changing an optional altogether is a very daunting task which you do not want to get into. So the choice component should be carefully taken. So you need to choose it very carefully. Choosing your optional is an art which should be done with proper with proper time given to it. So talking about the choice of your optional, talking about my choice of the optional, I chose anthropology as my optional. And the choice of anthropology as a subject has not been totally accidental or in okay. Yeah, so the choice of optional has not been, it was not like out of nowhere I came up with anthropology as the optional that I would like to choose. Though it is very much different from the subject that I chose in my graduation, which was English literature, and the subject that I chose for my master's, which is international relations. But the choice of anthropology was not something which came just like that. So I chose this subject because I was introduced to the ideas accidentally during a course which I was doing on globalization and theater. So at that time I was introduced to some ideas which were contained in anthropology, but that did not become the sole basis for me to decide for anthropology. I sat back, I was like, okay, this seems like a very good subject which I would like to study, and give my time further for this subject. So I sat back, and I saw the contents of the subject. So I saw that the subject is divided into four fields. Are these the four fields that I really want to give my time to? Just because I was introduced to the ideas of socio-cultural anthropology, and only based on that I did not decide for this optional. I also read extensively about the other three fields, which are archaeology, linguistic anthropology, and physical anthropology as well. Also paper 2, Indian anthropology and tribal anthropology. So I read about that. I saw the contents. I saw a few notes of the toppers, a few toppers copies, and when I was convinced that okay, this is the subject that I would like to study and would like to go further, it was only then that I chose this subject, anthropology. And when you choose your optional, there are two choices in front of you: to choose a subject which you are already familiar with, or to choose an entirely new subject. There are two reasons for you not to choose the subject that you already had. One would be that the subject is extremely difficult and extremely subjective, so you think you would not be able to score that much in this exam going forward with that subject, and that is where you decide to discard your original subject which you have done your graduation or your masters in. And the other reason for you to discard the subject, which very well applied in my case, was that your subject, the entire syllabus, there is a convergence of syllabus with your graduation or your master's syllabus, which you have already studied so much that you feel it would be a very boring task to delve with the same matter again and again. So these are the two cases wherein you can decide to leave behind your major subject and go on with another subject, a totally new or maybe a related subject to your domain. I chose anthropology, and I'm really proud of my choice because it was a fun experience preparing for UPSC CSE, also studying about anthropology. So it was a fun task for me. I never took it as a task which I'm forced to do, because there was so much new to study in this subject, and that is why I really believe that I was happy with my subject throughout, and this is the only reason I could go ahead with my optional and score so well in here. So yes, but also if you keep your previous subject which you have mastered either in your graduation or in your masters, then I believe your task is a little bit reduced. So I think you need to decide for yourself whether you want to make your preparation a fun experience, which can be by picking up a fun subject, or you want your preparation to go along the expected lines, and clearing this exam becomes becomes the main focus for you, and you would want to stick with the subject you are comfortable with. So that is entirely your choice. That is for you to decide. Talking about the preparation part, so if we talk about preparation of your optional, then I strongly believe that you should give 3 to 4 months entirely to your optional, because your optional demands that. There are two papers, 250 marks each, which gives 500 marks to your optional directly, and if you which gives 500 marks to your optional directly, and if you wish to score very well, if you have mastered your optional subject, it is not very difficult to score 280 plus here. So if you only focus on your optional, if you focus well on your optional, then there are chances you end up clearing mains with a very good margin. So optional becomes very important in that scenario, and it becomes a determining factor for your success in mains as well. And that is why optional preparation becomes integral, and that is why you should give substantial time to this preparation, which I strongly believe 3 to 4 months are required for your optional. You cannot put in any less than that. Next strategy would be every day. So when I say 3 to 4 months are required, I mean every day you give 6 to 8 hours or more, 6 to 10 roughly, for your optional, depending on how much you need to refine that optional. For me, anthropology was a new subject, so I needed to give more, and that is why I studied for 8 to 10 hours when I was studying for optional, and also it was engaging for me, and that is why I could sit for that long. Also, when you are preparing for your optional, it becomes very important that you classify your optional very well. You know what is the syllabus of paper 1, you know what is the syllabus of paper 2, how to engage with paper 1, how to engage with paper 2, how to classify the syllabus of paper 1 further, how to classify the syllabus of paper 2 further. These are the nuances that you should be thorough with when it comes to your optional. Talking about optional, it becomes very important because this is the only paper apart from essays wherein you actually have a choice of not doing a few questions or leaving out a few questions. So here another task becomes Another important task is to identify which questions you really want to answer. So depending on the field which you are comfortable with, and how will you be able to choose that field if you have classified your syllabus of paper 1 and paper 2 or paper 2 very well, and that is how you know where your strength lies and where your weakness lies. Also, I would strongly suggest that you incorporate diagrams. You prepare your answers beforehand for optional, uh, both for 150 mark, both for 150 words as well as for 250 words, both answers for both, and along with diagrams, how to fill up the spaces, how to make your answers more presentable, because optional, it becomes very important, because herein you are required to show that you have a deep knowledge of this subject, which does not go for essays or GS1, GS2, GS3 or GS4. So that is why optional becomes very important, and a major chunk of your preparation should definitely go into your optional. Thank you.